Well, come on. What are you doing? Did you get stuck? It's that way. We gotta go. Welcome back to the Rapway Outdoors. And today, as you can see, we're not on the lake. Nope, we are at our off-grid tiny little cabin in the middle of the woods here. I'm gonna be staying here by myself tonight. We're gonna be cooking up some awesome food, trying out a couple online recipes that I found for camping here, and also we're gonna be grabbing the 22 and seeing if we can't find us a squirrel to do a little catch and cook action. So without further ado, let's go ahead. We'll get all the gear unpacked, get a fire ready to be started in the wood stove here, and yeah, get to doing a little squirrel hunt. Tell you what, you know it's cold out when the oil in the oil lamps has frozen. Like I said, this place is completely off grid here, so we do have a light hanging in here. You'll probably see it throughout the video, but it only works if we have the generator, and well, I don't have a generator here right now. So, but other than that one light powered off a generator, if you choose, it's completely off grid. So we're gonna be lighting the place with oil lamp, heating the place with wood stove heat. It should be a pretty darn fun night. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start our fire off with some birch bark. Now this tree is completely dead, so I'm not worried about ripping the bark off of it here. And that's gonna be the base of getting our fire going. All right, now the next step in this making a fire process is you want little tiny sticks like this here. And so if you listen here, very crispy and dry, and it just breaks off clean. You want to grab as many of them little sticks as you possibly can gather, all the way from tiny little ones like this all the way up to these bigger ones. You want to grab as much of them as you can. So I'm going to start collecting, and we'll get us a nice pile going inside by the wood stove there. So like I say, just keep grabbing them. The more of these little ones you grab, the better your bigger logs are going to catch fire. Alright, there's a good pile of sticks here. That's all you're looking for. So we've got our birch bark here. Got our pile of sticks started. Go grab a few more sticks, and then we'll get us a nice pile of wood in here. So it's really snowing out here. Alright, grab our sled and we'll grab some wood. Start off with some nice birch pieces. Try to find some nice smaller pieces like this. These have been sitting on this wood pile dry for a long time. Boy, it is snowing like crazy. That's awesome. I was really hoping it would snow tonight. It just makes it so much more peaceful. Whew, I'm getting cold, I'll tell you that. I got pretty sweaty walking around hiking up here, and it's getting colder out now that it's snowing. So let's go ahead and get our fire going. So there's a couple logs in here from last time we had a fire, whenever that was. But first thing we're gonna do is take our birch bark, and if you can find and use the paperier portions, that's the best. But kind of whatever you can find, crunch her up real small and put that in the bottom. Next thing you're gonna do is take your little sticks here, all your tiniest little sticks, bust them up, and start stacking them in. Again, I got more than enough, and I'm making a mess in here, but luckily for me, I have all night to clean it up. So we'll put our little sticks in here. If you don't have enough little stuff, your next size up won't catch. Then you'll be sad. All right, we're gonna go ahead and leave some of them sticks set aside. I was just thinking, you know, if this fire goes out in the middle of the night or gets close to going out, or even in the morning if I wake up and the fire is out, it's gonna be really nice to have some of them little sticks and this birch bark sitting here ready to rock and roll to get a fire going, because I'll probably wake up freezing. So, next thing is we're gonna take some of these little pieces of wood here that we just batoned up and start putting them in here, kind of in that same, kind of in a teepee type fashion, as best you can. All right, I think we're gonna call that good so we don't overcrowd it. Well, maybe this guy. This guy looks like he wants to go in there. We'll go ahead and tuck him in too. There, so our fire should be ready to rock and roll to just put a little heat to, and it should light right up. And we're gonna try something kind of cool for that. But right now, I think we should go out and try to find us a furry little creature to eat for an hors d'oeuvre. It's snowing like crazy, and it's about 3 o'clock. So actually, the snow lightened up just a tickle. Deer bed. Pretty fresh since the last snow. That's cool. Might be able to even find some sheds. Now that I'm thinking about it, if they're fresh, deer should be dropping their antlers now. A lot of deer tracks around. That's a good sign. A lot of deer tracks. Alright, we got a squirrel up here. He's a long way up. He's way high in a tree right by his nest. I see him though. Now the hard part. Not lose track of him. Alright. Let's see if we can do this. I don't have a shot yet. He's pretty far, but he's right up in there. I just see the little bit of him poking out. We're gonna see if we can get him. We just might get one yet. Yep, he's right there. You guys see him? Oh, we just might be able to get a squirrel yet. He's right there. All right, here we go. Oh, he ran. I think we missed. Oh, I hope there's not a hole in that tree he got away in. Shoot. Nope. He's around the back side of the tree. There he is. Nope. Nope. Oh, he's on the move. We gotta stop him. Where's he going? Where's he going? Man, oh, he's right there, but there's so much snow I can't see. Oh, shoot. Well, that was a cluster. I don't know what happened there. I made sure this gun was sighted in before I came out here, and it was dead on. So I must have missed, or the scope got bumped. I thought I was pretty on him, but good news is, found my glove. It's just a squirrel. We're gonna continue on. That's a good sign. He was right by his nest though, so I'm thinking they are tucking in, which might make this pretty tough, or it'll be easier because I can just look for their nests and know there's a squirrel near. So I don't know. Let's keep walking and we'll find out. Good. Dropped you in the snow there. Sorry about that. Well, that didn't quite go to plan. We saw that one like I thought though. It's late in the day and snowing. I think all the squirrels are just sitting in their hole, eating their nuts. So yeah, now that we're back, I think it's time that we might as well get the fire going. Should have probably had it going a couple hours ago, but hey, that's all right. We're just out here having a good time. We're not living on any kind of schedule here, you know what I mean? So yeah, let's throw a little fire to this wood stove. All right, so we're gonna give this a try here. So this is my little fire kit I kind of keep with me all the time, and we're gonna try to use that and get this fire going. So I've got in here these little guys right here. As And these are Blackbeard little fire plugs. So we're gonna grab one of them. We're gonna grab our ferrule rod here. And then we're gonna take a little piece of this birch bark here, and what I'm gonna do is, first thing you gotta do here is you gotta break them up and you kinda ruffle them up until the fibers are poking out of them like that. You don't really want to rip them in half, just fluff them up real good. Got our fire plug fluffed out. I'm gonna go ahead and just set it on this little piece of birch bark here. Then we're gonna hit it with our flint, and it should catch a spark pretty quick. Maybe not. All right. All right, so there we got our fire going. We're just gonna gently put that into here. There we go. There's our fire. Go ahead and shut this door down just a little bit here. It's the only downside of these old parlor stoves. They have a tendency to kind of belch smoke out of everywhere until they get a good draft pulled, but that's alright, they're awesome. This fire is just a rolling now, which should be nice and warm in here in no time. Let's see what the current temp is in here. Well, it's a little tough for you guys to see, but it's about 18 degrees or so in here, so not terribly cold, but that's gonna warm up in here quickly. Oh, well, I tell you what, that's good to be warming up. It's already 60 degrees in here. It's feeling darn nice. Almost time to start dampering her down already, but well, I have a lot of things planned for dinner tonight, so we're gonna do a bunch of cool stuff. I've got an awesome steak, but I've got to start getting it thawed because it's froze solid. We're gonna attempt to make Outdoor Boy's bread. If you've seen his YouTube channel, which I'm sure you have, he makes a pretty awesome camping bread, and I mixed all the dry ingredients at home, and I'm gonna try just add water. However, I probably should have had that going a little while ago. So yeah, we're gonna have to get that going and get that by the fire so it can ferment a little bit before we attempt to make it. And yeah, other than that, we might as well just get rocking and rolling here. It's getting dark. It's still snowing a little bit, so let's get to making that dinner and getting our bread fermenting here. All right, so here's what we got going for part of our dinner tonight. Anyway, we've got a thick sliced ribeye steak. That should be delicious. I've also got an onion we're gonna fry up with this steak, and hopefully that turns out delicious. Now, admittedly, I've never cooked anything on top of this particular wood stove before, so I'm not really sure how it's gonna go. My guess, like any other wood stove, it's gonna be really low and slow. We'll probably just try setting the pan on top at first. If not, it does have the little takeout deals where you can take the little cover off and set the pan so the flame hits the bottom of the pan, but we're gonna try by just setting it right on top at first. So there's our steak we gotta get thawing. I'm gonna probably just set this in the window right by the wood stove here. And the next thing that I'm super excited to try is, this is the bread that we're gonna try and make. So all this is flour. Now it calls for bread flour, but I didn't have any. So this is just regular old flour, all purpose, which, you know, bread is in that category, I figured. A little bit of yeast, a little bit of sugar, tiny little bit of salt. No measurements. He didn't have measurements when I looked at when I saw his video, so we just threw something together. So we're gonna take our water, which is about half frozen at this point. We're gonna put just a little bit in till it turns kind of almost like a little thicker consistency than like pancake batter would be. And we're just gonna kind of mush it around, mix it up, and I'm just gonna, again, set it in the window and hopefully it ferments. We'll definitely try some tonight, but if not, by morning for breakfast, it should be perfect. But we're gonna try some tonight too, because what's the worst that happens? It doesn't turn out. We're gonna give her a little drink of water here. We'll start with that, because water is really hard to take back out. Zip it up here and give it a shake. Kind of like bread and fish. Ooh, that might have been too much already. Shoot. Oh no, that's okay. It's good. Actually, we're gonna need more. Get it all mixed up here real good. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna need a little bit more. I'm pretty excited about this, if you can't tell. Oh yeah, we're gonna need just a whisker more here. I'll try that much of a whisker. You can of course mix this with your hands, but I don't really want bread dough packed in my fingers. Plus, well, that's about it. I just don't want bread dough packed in my fingers all day. Yep, still gonna need more. This is a lot of flour, or a lot of dough it's gonna make. Might have got a little carried away. That's okay though. And then I'm gonna seal the bag and put it by the window here, and we should, as it's fermenting and the yeast in there is doing its job, it should kind of start to puff this bag up, I think. So that'll give us a good idea that it's doing something. Let's go ahead and we'll set her by the window by our steak. Got our steak sitting here. We're just gonna go ahead and we'll set, it's by that window, but trust me, it's plenty warm. Maybe we'll put it back here actually. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll set it kind of right behind the wood stove there. That should be plenty warm, maybe even too warm. We'll keep an eye on it. Whew, I tell you what, the fear of being cold, gone. I gotta get these bibs off. Holy smokes! And get these, and then I'll take you guys for a little tour around and show you what we're working with for the night. All right, well, we're still waiting for the oil lamps to thaw. They are frozen, so it's going to be a little while. I did bring a propane lantern, so if they don't thaw out quick or I don't want to use them, I'll just light up the propane lantern. But I really like the oil lamps. They're cool. So I figure before it gets too dark in here to see anything, I'll take you guys for a little tour around. There's not a whole lot to see, being, I think this is about, I'm guessing on dimensions here, but I'm going to guess like a 6 by 10? 7 by 10 maybe? It's not 8 feet wide for sure. Something like that. 6 to 7 foot wide by 10-ish feet long, so yeah, I'll show you guys around, and that way you know where we're going to be staying tonight. One cool thing about it, you can see, it is all windows. So, this place used to be a screen house. So, where the storm windows are that you see were just screen, just screen. And then the floor is actually, you can see there's slats between the floorboards. So it's built, the deck, or the floor of it is built just like your deck would be of your house. And there's a screen stapled up underneath to keep bugs from getting up underneath when it was a screen house. Still works for that today. Downside is staying in the winter. Obviously the floor gets quite cold, but it is about 153 degrees. Well, let's actually check the temp before I just say that. It is 110 degrees in here. You don't believe me? I'll show you. Okay, it came down a little. 100. It's hard to get on camera. But yeah, it's a little over 100 degrees in here. So these oil lamps and things should thaw out pretty quick, I would think. But yeah, let me show you around. All right, so over in this corner here, we've got jacket hung up, little chair, and this is where we stacked up our wood. This is a jump pack that I was planning to use to charge my phone, and more importantly, cameras, but it doesn't want to work for USB, so that's great. That's okay. Coming around, this is where we put our bread. So it hasn't done a darn thing yet, and our steak is frozen, so it's going to be a little while. Here we've got our wood stove, then I've got a jug of lamp oil sitting by the wood stove. Gotta make sure that doesn't get too hot, but that's obviously froze solid as well. Coming around, tripod there. But yeah, you can kind of get an idea how wide this is just off that wood stove. Got a little table, another froze up oil lamp. And then yeah, just the necessities for the trip down here. A water jug. These are one of them zero gravity, or two, but a zero gravity chair. And that's what I'm going to be sleeping on tonight. I did not bring a cot, so we're just going to sleep on one of them. And yeah, coming back around here, we've got the little Ruger 1022 warming up here. That thing is sweating like crazy, so that's going to need a good cleaning when we get home. All right, well, I got the oil lamps going, at least some of them. One of them, the wick is burned out. It's too short. But I got the oil in the oil lamps, although it's way too dark in here to film. So I'll show you guys, but I've got my camera light back behind here. But we got to go ahead and get this potato on because that could take over an hour plus on top. I don't know how long it's going to take, and it's already 6:30. But I forgot tin foil, which is kind of a bummer. I was going to wrap it in tin foil and just put it right in the coals, but we can't do that. So what I'm going to do, I've got this here tin cup that I plan to boil water in or cook my coffee in the morning. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of water in here. I'm going to drop the potato in the tin cup, and then I've got this other tin cup that with the handle shut kind of sits right on top. We'll make kind of a little bit of a lid and some steam. I figure it'll kind of steam the potato. I don't know. That's what we're going to try. So let's give her a try. We'll get it set up on the wood stove here, and hopefully we cook our potato. Our steak is still very frozen, so it's going to be a little while, but I don't think it'll take long to cook. I'm curious to see how hot the top of this wood stove is, how much it boils or steams this, so we're going to find out. It's a learning experience, right? So the first thing I'm going to do here is just go ahead and put a splash of water in our cup. Literally just a splash, enough to make some steam so it hopefully doesn't, well, maybe I should add a little more. It's probably going to steam out, huh? There, that looks about right. That way it hopefully doesn't steam out and burn our potato. It's pretty crazy. It's, 100 degrees in here, but the floor still has snow on it because it has them slats in the floor. So the floor is freezing, the roof is 100 degrees, in between is still pretty darn hot. So this guy here should just hinge out of the way. Like this. Oh. There, we'll just kind of leave it like that. That's how it's supposed to work. It can swing all the way around, but we're just going to leave it like that for now. We'll go ahead and put our cup on here with a little bit of water. There, that should be sufficient. We'll drop that in here. And then I'm just going to set this other tin cup. These have a lid too. I just didn't bring it because I didn't think I'd need it, but we're just going to kind of set that right on top like that, and that should cook just fine, I think. We'll go ahead and throw our cast iron skillet right on top here and let it start warming up. Well, I'm not sure. It actually is coming through on camera. I bet I don't have to use that light. This camera's doing a lot better job picking up the light than I thought. But yeah, we've got 2 oil lamps on that side, and then one back around there. Oh, hear that? That's our little pot of water with our potato in it steaming already. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that because I bet you if that water runs out, it's gonna burn pretty quickly. That stovetop's a lot hotter. That's gonna work great for cooking on, I think. All right, well, our baked potato is done, which is kind of what I was waiting for to start our steak, because I don't really know if the steak is gonna take a couple minutes or if it's gonna take an hour. I really don't know. But we're gonna go ahead now that that's done. We'll get our onion cut up here, get some butter in the pan, and we'll go ahead and start making our good dinner. the old knife that we just use for batoning wood and such. Not the best onion slicer, if you can imagine that. I gotta turn some light on, I can't see anything. There. Put a little light on this situation. Now is when you always try really hard not to cut yourself. A little bit more here and we're gonna call it good so we don't lose a finger out in the middle of the woods. In the middle of the night and have to call Becca and tell her I cut my finger off and it'd just be all kinds of chaos. We just don't need none of that. Alright, well, our bread has risen a lot. As you can see in the bag here, it's pretty much filled the bag. It has doubled in size at least. So I'd say it's ready. And I'm super excited about this here. So unfortunately, I don't have any oil, which is kind of what you're supposed to have, is put a little oil in the pan, but I've got butter. So we're just gonna go ahead and put a bunch of butter in the bottom of the pan here. Ooh, it's plenty hot. But I don't think too hot. It actually seems about right. We're gonna go ahead and just put a bunch of butter in here. And then we're gonna go ahead, try not to make a giant mess, and just put, ooh, that looks really good actually. I don't know if you can see in there, but that looks really good. We're just gonna try to put a big old glob of bread dough right in the middle here. Make us a nice little flat bread. Ooh, it's quite the big glob. It got really thick for sure, but I think it should be pretty good. There. We're just gonna do about that much, cook it up, and we'll see how it goes. Now I've got no idea how long that's gonna take. It's pretty thick. Honestly, I expected it to kind of spread out a little bit more. It's a lot thicker than I thought it was gonna be. It really should probably be covered, but I don't have any way to cover it. So it just is what it is. It's gonna cook. We'll flip it a few times and do what we need to do, but we'll see how it goes. All right, let's take a look at our bread here. It's looking pretty good. It's getting a little crust on the top. Get a look at the underside here. Oh, that's looking perfect. Let's try to flip it without screwing it up. Oh, got a little smear on there. Oh, this has turned out awesome. I hope it cooks through. Well, that's looking perfect, and it's about, oh, I don't know, an inch thick or so. Tastes like dough and onion from cutting up the onion. Not very good, to be honest. Ooh boy, I hope that don't tip off there. If that tips off there, that's our baked potato and our bread all is gonna crash all at once. Our pan here, I feel like I should get off the heat. It's kind of starting to scorch the butter that's on there. We gotta let this stove cool off a little bit. Now everything was going just great until I got cold. I was sitting here in my chair, just relaxing. I started getting pretty cold. So I threw a couple logs on the fire and it wasn't really doing the thing. So I opened up the dampers, like, oh, it can use a little more heat. The bread's not really doing much. Well, the problem with wood stove is before you know it, you went from a plateau to just a spike in heat real quick. And by the time I dialed everything back, the logs were lit and, well, it got a little hot, but I think we caught it in time. The bread doesn't look burnt or ruined at all. As you can see, it's actually looking pretty good. The other side looks about the same, so I don't think we burnt it. Our pan, we just gotta let cool off a little bit here. I was able to move the light over the stove here. And yeah, we've got our steak yet, and we've got our onion all cut up, so we're all ready to go. I just gotta let the stove and the pan cool off a little bit, because if I put butter on there and the onion, I'm afraid it's just gonna burn right away, kind of flash burn, and just be junk. So we gotta let the wood stove cool down a little bit, and we'll get to eating. Oh, all right, now that it's not 7 billion degrees in here, I tell you what, these wood stoves, or this wood stove, you think it's cold, then you put in a couple boards and you turn it up, and next thing you know, it's 500 degrees, and everything's way too hot. But we're finally ready. We can start making our steak. So, whew, that's still plenty hot. We're gonna go ahead and put that guy on. We're gonna drop on a nice slab of butter that's pretty well melted. And I did not bring any kind of like cooking utensils, so we're gonna be making everything with the knife here. I do have a fork. I remember a fork, so I mean that's something. So we're gonna go ahead and get that stirred around in here. Ooh, it's still plenty hot, that's for sure. I hope it's not too hot, but we've got the stove completely shut off. The damper is off on the stovepipe, and the vents going in are off, so it is what it is. And I'm sick of waiting, to be honest with you. I'm ready to eat. It's like 11 o'clock at night, so it's just time. Now we're gonna go ahead and dump our onions in. We're gonna let them start sauteing down a little ways. And we're gonna lay on our nice ribeye steak here. I'm curious to see how this guy is gonna cook. I hope it doesn't cook too fast and burn on the outside. Nope, it didn't sizzle like crazy, and that is a giant piece of meat. I did go ahead and pre-season this, I should say that. I just threw a little Famous Dave's steak and burger on it, so nothing crazy. Oh yeah, it's definitely time for a little flip. Ooh, that's looking so good though. Really gonna try to put some of these onions up on top here. Ooh. This is gonna be good. These are getting a little dry up here. I'm gonna mix them around a little bit. But man, this is looking good. Alright, well I think we're gonna go ahead and just call this done. I'm afraid the inside is gonna get too cooked. I wanted to get it a little seared up more, but the wood stove is just not quite hot enough to get a good sear. And I learned last time if I chuck a bunch of wood in to get the stove hot, then it gets 7 billion degrees and it's way too hot. So we're gonna go ahead and get this put on our plate and cut into it and just see how we did. Oh, all right. Boy, I tell you what, we started cooking this dinner, oh, I don't know, like 4 hours ago. But that's okay. It looks absolutely delicious. So let's see. I don't even know where to start. We're gonna put some honey on this bread, because I think that's the only way to do it. So we'll go ahead and start there. This honey is thick. Holy cow. I guess I had it in the cooler, so, you know, that'll happen. As far as this potato goes, we're going to have to make some room on our plate before we dig into this guy. Starters, let's go ahead and spread out our honey. That's good, them onions. Alright. Get our honey all spread out here. See how we did on our bread. See if it's dough in the middle or if it's pretty good. That's pretty darn good. It's a little dry in the middle. I mean, it's bread, so what do you expect, right? But it probably got cooked a little long. I think it just dried out when we had it just sitting up on top there, keeping warm. Hindsight, I probably could have pulled it off and set it aside, but I didn't want it cold. I wanted warm bread, you know? That's pretty darn good. That's really good. Alright, let's cut into our steak and see how we did. Honestly, I think it's going to be a little bit overdone. I was waiting for that one side to kind of crispy up a little bit, and it just wasn't. So I've got a feeling that the inside got a little overdone. I'm waiting for that, but let's see here. Yeah, that's okay. It's more like a medium than anything, but yep. Definitely medium done, but oh, is it good. I don't know if it's something to do with the fact that it's, oh, I don't know, what time is it? About midnight? What do we got for a time here? 11:52. Or what the deal is, but oh, is that good. Perfectly done. Outside skin got a little crispy, but the inside is absolutely perfect. So I think with this, all we're going to do, we'll throw a little butter on there. Perfect. Sprinkle a little bit of our steak and burger on there, because, well, that's the only seasoning I brought. That'll do. And then we're just going to eat it like a giant potato chip. Oh. I tell you what, for being in the woods in the middle of nowhere, living off of a wood stove and a tiny little cabin of all glass windows with basically an open deck floor, we're doing pretty good, I tell you what. Whew, well, that meal was absolutely delicious. Almost a little too much, not gonna lie. I was gonna make some dessert, but I am stuffed. And it's what is it? Let's see what time it is. Time check. 11 or 12:20. So we're gonna go ahead and get the bed made here, or the chair, and get the sleeping bag pulled out on it. And I'm thinking it's time. I'm gonna start getting ready for bed. Oh, all right. Well, we got the sleeping bag all set up here. Just threw a couple small pieces of oak on the fire, so hopefully that'll last, I don't know, at least a couple hours before I wake up freezing. But I'm gonna go sleep. I'll let you guys know in the middle of the night when we have to get up and feed the fire or whatever happens, but otherwise, we'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning, everybody. How'd you sleep last night? I slept a little. Got about every hour, and it was freezing in here because the fire would be out, or, you know, just down to coals. Throw another log in the fire or two, and about the time it would start warming up in here a little bit, I'd doze back off, and it seemed like in a second I'd wake back up and it was freezing in here again. So, but we made her through the night. All in all, it went really good. Honestly, I slept a little more than I figured I was going to, so, you know, that's pretty good. It's pretty cold out right now. It's snowing. It's pretty windy out this morning. Not horrible, but definitely quite a bit windier than it was yesterday. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get packed up here. The fire is down to just coals, so I don't really want to throw another log on the fire. It's, oh, what time is it right now? Somewhere around 7 o'clock, so. Yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I sure had a great time making it. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, is come and stay a night in here in the middle of winter. So finally did it and made that happen. So I appreciate you guys clicking, watching all the way through on this video. Please hit that subscribe button, and yeah, we'll see you next Thursday at 5 o'clock.